Wife Material Podcast, how to be happy in marriage, and or just happiness in general, right? It's good advice nonetheless, whether you're married or not, but ultimately, your happiness is up to you. You're supposed to have your own individual happiness, right? You're not supposed to fully rely on external reasons for your happiness. But of course, there are external reasons to be happy, right? So there's happy emotions are always good. Something I notice when it comes to females, right, to women, right, is they 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 want constant happiness, but they can't handle constant happiness. They'll get bored of it eventually. It's kind of like a drug, right? You have your uppers and downers, right? And when you're high, yeah, it's cool and all right, but then at some point you'll be like, okay, I need to do shit. I got stuff I want to do. I need to focus, and it's hard to focus when I'm high, right? As an idea, right? As an analogy. So you need a downer, right? You need a way to bring yourself down from the high. So this is part of why most females, right, ladies, right, create drama or crave drama, as some people say, right? And they'll watch, TV drama shows where, oh my God, the guy cheated on his wife, his girlfriend with her twin or something like that. How did he not know the difference? Dun dun dun, shit like that. Like you get the drama shows. So things like that because they need the roller coaster of emotions. They want happiness when they want it, and they want to be sad when they want to be sad. It's like because remember, females are very very emotional. Like that's their thing. They focus heavily on their emotions, and they that's how they live. They live through their emotions. And guys, we have emotions too, obviously. But the main thing is that since they really, really live through their emotions, experience the world largely through their emotions, that, they can't let certain emotions not get triggered, as it were, however way you want to look at it. If they can't be happy all the time and never ever be sad. They have to feel sadness at some point, right? So they want to taste the rainbow. I got a bag of Skittles here, so they gave me the idea, right? They want to taste the rainbows of emotions, right? They don't want to just only be happy, which is why a lot of times it's hard to keep them happy. Yes, ladies, I said it. A lot of times it's hard to keep y'all happy all the time because y'all don't want to be happy all the time. That's why. It's not that we couldn't. It's not that we can't, facilitate the ability for you to be happy all the time. It's that y'all don't actually want to be happy all the time because you want to feel all the different ranges of the emotion. You want to taste the full rainbow of emotions. You'll get bored. It's like, eating the same food every day. I notice females, don't want to eat the same thing every day. They want to try different things, right? That's why they love dates, because dates allows them to do different things, and they, go on dates with different guys because they're hoping for a different experience. And that's part of why they complain when the guy expects something in return. It's like, well, he wants some experiences too, but the experience he wants is different than the experience you want. You want to experience, different environments, right? Being in different places, experience different foods, different smells, different tastes. Yeah, but the guys are typically simple, right? Pretty good, logical. So we tend to like the same thing. We like some variety, of course, but when we like something, we like it, and we like it a lot. Like we have our favorite T-shirt, we'll have it for years. We have our favorite pair of shoes, we'll have it until if it literally falls apart, and then we buy the same exact pair or something similar, right? I've been buying the same pair of sneakers for 12 years now, or something like that, or at least similar-ish. So, So if you've seen pictures of me in the past and see my sneakers and then see the sneakers I wear now, you'll see like, man, why do it look like you're wearing the same sneakers? It's because technically I am. I keep buying sneakers that pretty much look the same throughout my life. Among many other things. The point is that, guys like girls, right? We like sex. So yeah, everything we do at some point is going to lead to that. We make money for sex. We get a house for sex. We get a car for sex. We get clothes for sex. We take a bath for sex. We eat healthy. We exercise for sex, and the list goes on. 99% of everything we do is largely for sex. Because if you take away everything we have in society, all this advancements, blah, 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 right? Take away everything that we have now and just go back to primitive, just us and nature. Guys are, what do you think guys gotta be doing? Eat, sleep, and fucking. That's it. That's all. That's our basic functions. That's our most basic function. We're all built with our default setting. Guys' default setting is eat, sleep, and reproduce. We're literally hardwired and designed literally for that. That's our evolutionary. Everything else we created, clothes and cars and Bugattis and all this stuff. All this shit is extra. All this shit is extra shit we created because we were bored. The irony is, a lot of what we created was, again, like I said, is for sex. We built houses so we have a place to fuck privately. we were, I mean, now we're all used to like houses, apartments, and this and that, having our rooms with game systems and what. Like we're used to these things now, but at some point it's like if society starts collapsing and stuff like that, we're just gonna go back to the old days. It's like, yeah, I just find like a cave somewhere or just an abandoned building, and that's it. I don't need all of the comforts of society. All I need is a place to sleep, right? A way to eat, and like I said, way to reproduce. Or the short version of that is just sex, right? Sex. Take care of our sexual urges. Because we're in an apocalypse. Ideally we should try to repopulate the planet, right? But you might not want to bring a child into an apocalypse. But at the same time, if you don't, then that'll be the end of the human race, right? And we kind of leaning towards that right now. We're living one of the best times in history, technology-wise, opportunity-wise. The internet has given tons and tons and millions of people of opportunities. A lot of people who don't deserve it, but still opportunities nonetheless. So the people who don't deserve it, well, at least they took advantage of the fact that they could do it, even though they don't deserve it. And a lot of people we wish didn't use these opportunities. But the people who do, deserve these opportunities, deserve to get heard, get their voices out there, have an audience, right? To pretty much have the world know that they exist is very important. But anyway, the thing is that we need to, life is simple, for guys. Females, it's a little bit more complicated, mainly because of your emotions. Y'all have the same functions, eat, sleep, reproduce, but then you have the extra layer, which is your emotions. For us, our extra layer is logic. So basically, we if we get bored, we gotta do stuff. So we do things, we build things, we fix things. Females, like I said, y'all on the emotional spectrum, so it's for y'all. It's about experience. It's about your environment. It's it's how you feel. So for you, it's more internal, right? Your experience of life is internal. Our experience in life as a guy is external. So our happiness as guys comes from external stuff. Comes from fixing something or scoring a touchdown or something like that. External stuff. For y'all, it is internal. So that's why a guy says, a cute guy that you find attractive, calling you pretty or cute is going to make you feel a certain type of way, and that's what matters to you the most. Which is part of why females nowadays will go on the internet to get that attention, right? To get them compliments, go on dates for one, free food and for attention and compliments. But once they get that stuff, then they don't care about the guy's happiness. Because remember, it's about their feelings. So as long as their feelings are met, they don't care about anyone else's feelings. Because again, they are internal, not external. So that's how you ladies function. I mean, this is from just seeing female behavior. This is just from what I see in real life. This is what I see online. This is just from even talking to females. I talk to a lot of them. So that just in general, I'm like, yeah, this is how different men and women are, right? Male and female. Very different in those regards. So obviously they're going to, view the world differently than I do, because it's, feelings, it takes top priority. So you'd be surprised that well, the irony is I could say something nice to a female, right, or to a woman, but typically it's a female that actually takes it negatively. A woman would understand better. She's mature, so she will understand that I was being nice, or maybe I was making a joke intended to be, compliment, like it was a complimentary joke. Okay? So it's meant to be a compliment, but at the same time it's meant to be a joke. So it's meant to elicit laughter. So it was supposed to make her happy because it was a compliment, but it was also supposed to make her laugh, which is another happiness. So I was trying to give her a double whammy of happiness, like 2 shots of happiness, basically, right? Like 2-shot drink, 2 shots of happiness, right? Bang, here's 2 doses of happiness in 1 shot, right? 2 stones, 1 bird, right? But most females will, like I said, the joke part will make the compliment sound more of an insult than a joke, and then they overreact, and then that's how you know they're a female and not a woman. Because a woman's mature, a female is not. A female is immature. That's the difference. And I've been trying to promote that concept for a while now, because it's really annoying that men and women are constantly getting slandered by all these immature man-childs, all these, immature females out here, these 304s and whatnot, making men and women look bad by just calling themselves men and women. Oh, men ain't shit. Oh, women ain't shit. Like, no, correct. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all, not men and women. Men and women are awesome. Y'all ain't shit. Because y'all not like us. So stop talking about us as if we're the problems, as if we're the ones making the mistakes, if we're the ones that are dumb and making dumb decisions. We're not. We're the ones who make good decisions. We're the ones who think before we act, think before we speak. Right? We speak with a purpose. We take actions with a purpose, and the purpose is meant to be positive. It's supposed to have positive outcomes. So this whole idea that, oh, men make the world bad. No, men made the world awesome. Men made the world in the first place. The women were there to help, right? But this whole idea of like, oh, the problems of the world is men and women. Is like, no, the problems of the world is the lack of men and women. That's the problem. That's why it's not surprising that most people are unhappy, especially modern day women, right? They like to label themselves that. Modern day women who follow feminism, they're very unhappy. They're very butthurt. They're out here on the internet complaining. And then they're complaining that there's people complaining. Like, oh, these guys complaining about us. So I'm going to complain about them complaining. But they're complaining about your behavior. They're complaining about that out here doing things you shouldn't be doing, like being in other people's business, telling other people how they should live their lives when you should just live your life. Live your life. You want to be strong, independent, don't need a man, that's fine. You do you. Go get yourself a cat and go live happily ever after. Why are we here at the bar cock blocking, right? Preventing, females who want to be with guys who want to be with females. Why are you in the way taking these free drinks and then treating guys like shit? Oh, I don't owe you nothing. Drink. Those drinks were meant for women who actually want to at least try to be in a long-term relationship, or at least just get a one-night stand out of it. Why y'all keep trying to get benefits that y'all don't deserve? Y'all want wifey treatment without being a wife. You want girlfriend treatment without being a girlfriend. You want free drinks at a bar without putting out. Makes no effing sense. You want to go on dates and again, not put out or not even try to reimburse the guy and I mean not reimburse, but like compensate him in some type of shape, way, or fashion. But it's ironic. Here's a little tip since ladies are listening to this. What's ironic is it doesn't require too much to make a guy happy anyway. You can just give the guy a lap dance. You could dry fuck him, hand job, titty fucks. There's so many things you can do to make him happy in his pants that doesn't require full-on sex. You'd be surprised how many guys will take a lap dance. How many guys will take a hand job. Like, it doesn't require that much. Because if anything, you know, he's just like, okay, you're hot, horny, and I have this urge that I need, you know, to deal with. And I would like to deal with it with you. Well, give him something. No one says you gotta give him everything. No one says you gotta give him, you know, full course meal. He doesn't have to have access to the full buffet, but at least give him a sample. That's all I'm saying. Give him a sample. Like, really? It's too much for y'all to give a hand job at least? At least? Remember, he needs release. Yes, he can jerk himself off. But here he does that. And the fact that he paid for the date and whatnot, it's like, the least you can do is give him that. Think about it. He's going to drive you home and whatnot. Just give him a hand job in the car on the way to on the way home. Even if you don't finish, better than nothing. Maybe there'll be a second date and you can finish him off then. Who cares? The point is it's just a level of ignorance of the idea of like, oh, I feel like I deserve stuff and no one else deserves anything. It's like, well, that's very disrespectful. That's definitely not ladylike, and that's definitely not the behavior of a woman. A woman understands that if she wants stuff, there's a price to pay. But the thing is, what's beautiful about being a woman, right? Especially in a patriarch, in a man's world, right? Is that you can pay in different ways than a guy. A guy literally has to go through stress, work hard, physical, mental, right? Time consuming, literally spend hours of his life, days, weeks, months, years of his life to earn money, right? So he can pay to take you on a date, right? To do things for you financially, right? And in return, the most you have to do is just sit on his lap, move for, you know, like, I don't know, for however long it takes for him to finish, right? It's like, sit on his lap and move for a bit. And that's it. A little bit of your time, a little bit of your attention, a little bit of your physical contact. That's not a lot. It's nothing at all equal to what he's done to even get to the point where he can do things for you, like take you on a date, buy you gifts, or even have a car to even drive to wherever you're at or pick you up, whatever, or fly to wherever you're at, right? A lot of the stuff in life costs money. And money, well, at least for guys, it's not that easy to come by. It's not super hard per se, but it's definitely harder than if it were a female, because a female can get money from pretty much just anybody. And again, like I said, all it takes, because you gotta understand that the way it works is that what y'all have in life is essentially credit. You smiling at a guy, you being nice to a guy, you getting, you know, physical with a guy, that's all credit, right? You're building up credit, right? You're building up debt, basically. In exchange, you're getting compensated for that. So you're providing services and you're getting compensated. And whatever guys give you, that's the compensation. They buy you a car, that's a compensation. They buy you dinner, that's a compensation for your work, right? For your services. You're literally have the tools, right, to provide these services. So serve. And that way you earn your compensations, whatever he gives you, right? And the thing is that whatever you get is always more than what you give anyway. Like I said, giving a hand job for dinner, the dinner clearly is worth more than the hand job, but hey, whatever. Guys always take less Um, always take less. When it comes to relationship, there's no such thing as 50-50 for guys in relationships. It's always like 90-10 or something like that, right? Where the guy puts in more and he receives less. But the less that he receives, he values it. See, for guys, it's about quality. For females, it's about quantity. So quality of happiness for guys, right? And quantity of happiness for females. So you getting a lot of stuff, you doing a lot of stuff makes you happy. The guy getting something really cool and special and just for him, like a thoughtful gift or something like that, or a surprise sexual act that he didn't expect it, once in a lifetime type of thing. Because like, oh yeah, I never did this ever. This is like the first time I did it, and I only did it with you. That will be very special, and that make him very happy for a long, long time. Something that simple, ladies, but y'all always want to complicate things because feelings, because of selfishness, because your happiness is top priority for you. And it's okay to, put your happiness, up first, but this is why you got to make yourself happy more often than not. Because here's the thing, if you can't get happiness from external sources, then you have to make yourself happy. So if you can't get happiness from your significant other or from other things, then find a way to make yourself happy. That way, when you want to be happy, you make yourself happy. Every other time, you'll be happy whenever, just shit happens. That way, whenever your husband, boyfriend, or whatever, right, or just some other person does something that makes you happy, all right, cool. That's a freebie, right? There's some free happiness that you didn't ask for. You got free happiness. But you're supposed to make sure that you are responsible for your own happiness instead of expecting everybody else to give it to you. I'm not saying that you can't get happiness, from external sources, right? From your husband, boyfriend, or the world. Just remember that first and foremost, you need to, be able to give yourself happiness, right? Because logically, by default, you already love yourself. Self-love is just a modern day way of saying being selfish. Be selfish. That's why I don't believe in the self-love thing, because it's like, nah, self-love is not what you think it is. Y'all think self-love means something different. It's like, no, self-love just means selfishness. Even the term "put yourself first," you mean be selfish? That's all that means, is to be selfish. But the thing is, 99% of the problems in the world are caused by selfish people for selfish reasons. That's one of the greatest sins of society is selfishness, individuality. People feeling that they are more important than the group, that it's them versus the world, right? When the reason why the world exists, aka society, is because we come together. So it's us united we stand, not divided. Divided we clearly fall. So that's why it's like, if in a marriage or relationship or just in general, you got to make sure that you can make yourself happy. So here's some things you can do to make yourself happy, right? Having hobbies, having some type of achievement, like, setting a goal and then, achieving that goal. Like, if your goal is to clean a house, then bang, there. Once you finish achieving the goal, there you go. Obviously, it could be anything else. It could be anything. Like, you want to paint a painting and then sell it. All right, do it. Paint a painting and then sell it. Find the easiest, quickest way to be able to do all that, right? And then, sell it. And once it sells, bang, you should definitely be happy because you sold it. Because you set a goal and you achieved it. And then there's the monetary, benefit of, selling the painting, which is also going to give you extra happiness. So that's a double shot of happiness right there. That's a double whammy, right? Raising kids, taking care of your man, right? Taking care of your family, protecting your family, right? Helping them out with their issues, talking to your children, getting to know them, getting to know their likes and dislikes. I know it's a lot of, unfortunately, I have a lot of experience, raising other people's children, that a lot of times the parents don't talk to their kids as much as they should. They don't even ask kids a lot of questions to try to understand what the kid knows. Because think about it. If you think about how crazy it would be, right, if you ask a 5-year-old child about quantum physics and they can actually answer that question. If you ask them about, quantum physics, what is quantum physics? And they can tell you, it's like, damn, where the hell you get that information from? And then it turns out they saw a YouTube video about quantum physics on the tablet, right, or phone or whatever, when you weren't paying attention. Maybe you were cleaning or something, or you were on your phone, probably watching TikTok or something. The kid had headphones on, stuff like that. They scrolled over to a quantum physics video, and they learned quantum physics, or at least they understand the concept and they know what quantum physics is based off the video. It's like, you didn't know because, like I said, you weren't paying attention, so you didn't know that happened. I've seen, some of my nephews be scenarios where they're watching SpongeBob videos, and then suddenly they end up on twerk buying compilations. So first they're watching SpongeBob videos laughing, and then they end up watching, women with big butts shaking their ass. And it's like, me as a guy, I'm like, boys will be boys, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, well, see, nobody's paying attention, and look what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't see too much of a problem that, obviously, from the guy's point of view, I don't see a problem with boys seeing, the opposite sex in that type of manner. But at the same time, they are young, and it's probably be a good idea to minimize, that type of adult content exposure, right? Obviously, and keep them, watching things that are educational. I prefer them to watch educational stuff anyway than anything else. But at some point, the older, every year, the older they get, whether you deal with boys or girls, typically I tend to deal with boys. So, it's like, yep, every year you're getting older, which means you're changing, which means you're seeing you're going to see the world differently. Your logic starts evolving, which means you're going to start noticing things. And it's very important to ask them, what is it that you know? Ask them math questions, ask them history questions, ask them questions about, like, who they know, like their relatives and stuff like that. What they think about a certain relative. Might find out some really interesting information. The point is that, most parents, especially most females that I've seen in the modern day time, treat their children more like pets. Feed them, clothe them, entertain them, and then that's it. And basically just tolerate their existence until they're 18. And that's not raising children. So that's why I said raising kids will bring you joy and happiness, which means talking to them, getting to know them, right? Every year, seeing how much they progress, see if they improve, in basic stuff like math and stuff like that. Obviously, keep track of that stuff. That's one of the important things. That's the stuff I used to see back in the day among women, was the fact that they spend a lot of time getting to know their kids. Modern day females don't do that. Modern day women don't do that. Right? So that's unfortunate when you have a lot of modern day women, right? Females have children, but they want to live their life, right? Have girls' summer, act single. Basically, they just want to maintain. They just want to live their teenage years forever. They don't want to grow up. They want to be teenage girls, and they want to be forever 21, which I use that term, forever 21. Most of these chicks don't want to get old. They don't want to turn 30, 40, 50. They want to be a grandmother, a mother, grandmother, husband, wife. Like, most of them are against that idea because they want to be young forever 21. But that reality doesn't work that way. Maybe someday we'll figure out a way to make it where you can be 21 forever, right? Literally be forever 21. But until then, we all get old. So we gotta accept it. That's life. And after a while, you start realizing that, yeah, I prefer things to be this way, to get old and to eventually no longer be here, when the proper time comes, right? But while we're here, we're going to make the most of it, right? Because it makes life more precious when you have less of it, when you have less life less of life, it's more precious than if you had an abundance of life. So that's why you need to make yourself happy. You need to make sure that the marriage is your happiness. It's like, I'm happy to be married because this is what I wanted. I want to be this marriage. I want to be with this man. I want to have kids. I want to raise the kids. I want to be in this house. I want to, the things we're doing, I want to do, you know? So that's why you got to make sure you have stuff that you do that makes you happy, whether it's cooking, cleaning, right? Taking care of the kids, taking care of your husband, shit, just even taking care of yourself, taking a bubble bath, going to a spa, going to a beauty parlor, you know, putting on makeup, whatever makes you happy. Find those things. Make sure you have those things. Right? First and foremost, make sure you have your happiness stuff. Right? Your happiness. Then the extra happiness you get, right? The freebies, the free happiness that you get from children, you get from your husband, you get from, you know, from your community, from your friends, right? Family and whatnot, society. That should be the extra happiness you get. You shouldn't be empty when it comes to happiness and then expect to be filled with happiness from external sources. That's the problem. Modern day females expect external happiness. Constant. Like, I constantly need to be bombarded with external happiness. I need people to like my pictures that I post on the internet. I need people to give me compliments. I need people to, you know, tell me what's going on in their lives so I can be all up in their business, because, you know, that kind of that stuff entertains me, makes me happy to hear other people's lives, especially hearing other people's lives sounds worse than mine, which is an unfortunate thing to be happy about. It's like kind of sad to be happy at other people's miseries, right? But there are that is a thing. There are many females out there that literally get joy from other people's suffering, other people's dramas, unhappiness. Like, they'll literally try to suck the happiness from other people like a vampire. It's like, oh yeah, you're happy? Let me take that from you. Steal that from you. There's even jokes about it, you know, online, right? You know, about, you know, wives, you know, sucking the happiness out of their husband. Anytime their husband is happy, the wives can feel it, like it's a spider sense. They can feel that he's happy, then they want to eradicate it. Like, no, he's not allowed to be happy without me, or be happy, period. You know, that's why if a female sees, you know, a woman or female sees her man, but, you know, happy around another female, or, you know, as in another female made him happy, it's a problem, right? Because, you know, she feels that that's her thing. That should make her happy. Just like we know that our significant other, our ladies' happiness is important. That, you know, if we see another guy making our ladies happy, we see that as a problem. You know, it's like, it's my job to make sure you're happy, but to make sure you're happy, not to provide you all the happiness, right? It's not my responsibility, you know, for your happiness, but it is my responsibility to make sure you are happy. So I need to check on, sure that, you know, communication, right? Make sure that you're happy, that there is no misunderstanding. There's no like, oh, you're neglecting me. It's like, I'm not neglecting you. I'm just busy. But if you truly feel neglected, I'll see what I can do. I'll try to make some time. Because I don't want you to feel neglected. You know, I don't, you know, I'm not neglecting you on purpose. I'm not trying to neglect you. I definitely don't want you to feel neglected. You know, I want you to be happy. But, you know, I got shit to do. Life is life. Me, you know, I always try to find solutions to problems. I try to compromise. So it's like, if she needs more of my time, then I'll try to give her time. So I'll try to get more time. So I'll get somebody else to do stuff for me so that I can have the free time, because they'll do the stuff that, you know, I don't want to do anyway. So I get somebody else to do my work for me so that I can have free time, so I can give that free time to wife and children. have, just like you're supposed to teach your children, to be happy, right? To be able to make them, to be able to make their own happiness. This is why we give kids like stuff like toys and things like that, because the idea is like, here's something that should bring you some happiness and joy. Here's something you can use to facilitate your own personal happiness. If you know your son likes cars, give him a toy car. And if you see him for hours and hours enjoying himself with that toy car, then you know you gave him happiness. Literally. It's literally that simple. Especially with boys. Guys, we're simple. We're designed to be simple. Right? Think of guys like androids and females are iPhones, which makes a lot of logical sense because most Android users are guys and most iPhone users are females. The analogy works, right? Guys are simple. We just need simple functions. We're not trying to be complicated. We're not trying to be fancy and flashy and try to do all this extra shit. But iPhones is always trying to do some extra shit. Sometimes they'll get rid of something, like the headphone jack or something, or Bluetooth, and then turn that into accessory. So I noticed that a lot of times females will, like for example, happiness. Think about it. Females are literally trying to take out happiness out of themselves, right? They're like, no, I'm not going to be responsible for my own happiness. Everyone else has to make me happy. It's like, what? Why do why, why do you take away that feature? Why do you take away your own personal happiness? And now you're expecting everybody else to give you the happiness. You're expecting your man to bring you happiness. Like, oh, I expected this relationship. I'm supposed to be happy. It's, me first. You're my husband. You're supposed to care about my happiness. Blah 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 blah. All this stuff is like, yeah, you can get it on somebody else. You literally took away something you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be happy that you're alive. You're supposed to be happy that you're healthy. When you see yourself in the mirror, you're supposed to be happy with your reflection. Like, your own happiness is supposed to come from you, not from everybody else, not from external sources. Your happiness is supposed to come from internally. And then, like I said, all the all the external happiness is just extra happiness. It's just free happiness that you can use to refill yourself, right? To recharge yourself, right? Like I said, you're like an iPhone. So when you're low on happiness, which you should already have happiness, when you're low on it, just recharge. Go do something. Talk to somebody, and get yourself happy again. Be surprised, ladies, how words, just talking, gives you happiness. This is why when you hear somebody else, telling gossip or something, talk about a story about stuff they went through, a lot of times it gives you happiness, right? That dopamine hit. Y'all get extra happy. It's like, well, be surprised. Just literally, like, I know for a fact, from if you want to call it anecdotal, because it's my life experience, I've said things to females, whether it be a text or in person, and the way they feel, the level of happiness, the euphoria, the horniness, whatever, lust, whatever you want to call it, just spews. Even on, like, when I be on TikTok, I've had scenarios where a female is, I say lady, I'll say lady, because I don't know that well. To say they're femaleness, they give me female characteristics, right? Very immature. But if they're, if they're a little bit reasonable, then it's like, okay, you're a lady. They're very reasonable, very logical, definitely a woman, right? But anyway, that's for a different topic. Point is that I would talk to these ladies, and at first, they're mad at me, because they disagree with something, right? But then, I talk to them, tell them my view, right? Tell them what the situation was about, what the topic was about, and then we have a little bit back and forth, and then I'll throw in some kind words. I'll throw something in. I'll throw in like a compliment or something. Like, I'm like, you're lucky you're cute. Like, you're cute, and I want to just say you're right, but you're not. You're wrong. You're misunderstanding the situation, or like you're getting angry at me for nothing. I mean, it's cute. It's cute that you're angry, I think it's really cute that you're angry, but it's like you're always angry. Recently, I tested out the idea of using the word precious. Um, Not a good word. It didn't get the results that I wanted. Ironically, it did get the outcome that I expected, which was, you know, well, I was expecting worst case scenario. I was expecting worst case scenario. If I use the word precious, would that be taken as an insult? And it was taken as an insult. So, I mean, blocking me indicates insult, right? That it's like, oh, okay, so I should have said cute or adorable, right? Those two words. So adorable and cute does sound better than precious. I guess precious sound condescending. I think that's the issue, is because when I was like, oh, I was like precious and heart smiley face, and apparently that just, I mean, I guess precious did sound condescending, but then on top of that, throwing in the little heart emojis, smiley face emojis, probably turned it into like a creepy, statement. So like my precious, right? And it's like, okay, so precious and those emojis combined, definitely uh, not a good combination. So next time, I'll try cute again. If I ever end up in a similar conversation, I'll use cute and see, or adorable, and see how that works. I think on average, adorable works more. I think cute is a little bit stronger if I think about it, because it's like cute, you know, does because cute would give the impression that I'm judging her looks. Um, if I say adorable, that's more of behavior. So like I'm complimenting on the cuteness of her behavior as opposed to her looks. If I say cute, then that's kind of more directing to the looks. And I notice, especially females, women are obviously more mature, but specifically females. Uh, Anytime you mention their looks, especially if they're very feminine or anti men, tends to be an issue. But there are times where saying cute or saying adorable has had positive results against feminists or man haters, I should say. Because typically, if a female is mad at me, right, or disagreeing with me and whatnot, it's usually from the men are bad stance. There's that point of view of like, oh, men ain't shit, right? So I practice, right? I practice what I preach, as they say, right? So I understand the female, how females' emotions work. So it's like, okay, well, she's mad at me, so I can't, so I shouldn't say anything that will make her mad at her. I want to tell her the truth. I want to tell her that she's wrong in this and that, but that's just going to make her mad, obviously. So it's like I got to find a way to be able to tell her that she's wrong without directly saying she's wrong. That's why a lot of times I will use the term incorrect. Like I will say, um, I'll say incorrect, and then I'll make the statement of, what the correct thing is. So if they say something wrong, instead of me saying, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, or wrong, definitely don't be like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, stuff like that, it's not gonna bode too well. Unless I'm trying to insult her, there's no reason to actually add insults, right? Even if the insults are meant to express that, she doesn't know what she thinks she knows, right? It's just enough to be like incorrect, because then it's not that you're saying that she's wrong. You're just saying that what she just said is wrong, right? So that's why it's very important, because when you make something about the person, then it's a personal attack, and the females get all emotional when they feel like you're talking about them instead of about responding to whatever they said or whatever. Right? They don't like, not this. Most females don't like fingers being pointed at them. So I gotta be careful of what I say, so that way it doesn't sound like I'm attacking them, right? Because then they get emotional. They get emotional. Then of course, but their responses are going to be emotional based. It's not going to be logical. It's not going to be a fact based. It's not going to be educated. It's going to be total opposite. Another thing is understanding about emotions is that we as human beings, both male and females, have inherently more negative emotions than positive emotions. We have tons of words for our negative emotions than we have for positive. We have very few positive emotions of labels. So we have less words to describe happy emotions, positive emotions. So obviously, on average, we're going to be sad, mad, depressed, annoyed, rage, disgusted, afraid, creeped out, and the list goes on, right? Like we have a lot of words to describe negative emotions. So that's why happiness is one of those big words that when it comes to positive emotions is such a big deal. Women, modern day women, females nowadays complain about not having enough happiness, having no happiness in their relationship and whatnot, not understanding it's like, but your happiness comes from you first. It should come from you first, and then everything else is just secondary. Everything is just extra, right? It's just like having a job, right? You want to make sure you get a regular, you get your regular paycheck, right? Minimum wage. You want to make sure you at least get your minimum wage, right? And then hopefully you get raises. So at least get minimum wage, right? At least get the bare minimum, and then try to get more. But most females out here are against the idea of bare minimum of a lot of things, right? So then you get into that scenario, right? If you don't have your own happiness, then you're going to constantly be seeking happiness from external sources, and the external sources might not always have enough happiness for you. You might not always be able to get external happiness as often as you want. Just like guys can't get, some guys can't, but not every guy can constantly get external pleasure, sex, right? That's something that makes guys happy, sex, and that's not something they can always get. Some guys can, but not every guy, right? So we're talking about the average. So on average, your external happiness is going to be rare for you ladies, and external pleasure, right, is going to be rare for guys. So, like I said, want to make sure you make yourself happy, right? Having friends that are like-minded, right, who believe in what you believe in, where you can get along. I mean, it's okay to have friends that disagree with you because, like I said, emotions, right? So having like one or two friends that don't always agree with you, right? So that way you're not constantly in an echo chamber where everybody's saying the same thing, everybody's always agreeing. There has to be some disagreements and some discourse, right? Because even with my guy friends, my best friend, my brother from another mother, right? Him and me, we don't always agree, which is why it makes it very good friendship, right? Because we don't always agree, and it's mainly because of our different point of views. I'm older than him, not so I see things differently than he does. But that's the thing; it's very useful because of his different points of views. He sees something I don't see. Sometimes I'll miss something. I don't know everything, which is why it's important that he does see things that I might miss, and then we'll talk and we'll combine our notes, as they say, right? Or combine our notes, and then boom, everything works out better. And I've I've done a lot of stuff, solved a lot of problems with his help, right? With his different point of view. There'll be times where like I was saying something, and then he'll say something, and first he's like, "Yeah, I guess that was a bad idea." I'm like, "No, you're actually right. I'm wrong. I was looking at it. I was looking at it the wrong way. Your way actually makes more sense." And then I go with it. Run with it. I explain like why his idea was a better idea, like how it made way more logical sense. Like I can admit when I'm wrong. I can accept being wrong because what I care about the most is ultimately being right with the right information, not being right because I want to be right, not because I want to always be right. I am who I am, and I always gotta be right. No, I want to actually be right. So I want facts. I want the truth. So if I'm wrong, I want to know about it, and then I want the truth, right? I want to know what's right, so that way I can correct it. Right? I'm wrong until I'm right, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So if I'm wrong, prove it, and then I'll correct myself. I rather, I don't want to be, I don't want to be wrong. No one should want to be wrong anyway. It makes no sense to be wrong. I'm from the generation where it's like, you know, you were trying to learn what was right and what was wrong. Modern day times, no one cares. In this day and age, everybody just cares about like how they feel and their opinions and whatnot, or what they heard or what somebody else says, and then everybody becomes like an echo chamber. Everybody copying off each other, saying the same thing over and over again. It's like, stop copying off each other. It's one thing to learn from one another, but it's another thing to literally be copying, because you don't know if the other person was wrong, and now you're just walking around spreading false information, right? Fake news, as they say. So you're just out here saying something as if it's a fact, but in reality it's not. But you didn't double check, you didn't vet it, you didn't make sure you did a good job at knowing the difference. And I think that's it for happiness in a marriage or just in general. First and foremost, like I said, you gotta find that which makes you happy. Make sure you have access to that, right? Make sure that you always rely on that to give you happiness, and then everything else is secondary. Everything else is just extra happiness on top of your happiness. Like me personally in life, I'm a pretty happy person. I'm pretty positive. I've been positive, in my life for a long time. Like a lot of people always you look at me like, damn, how you happy? Everybody else is complaining about the recession in 2008 and stuff like that, and I'm like all happy, and I'm like, I'm fine. I don't care. It's not that big a deal. I get that there's issues going on in the world, but it's not my issue, right? It's not my problem. It's other people's problems. So let's try to find some solutions, right? And that's the thing. I'm always about trying to solve problems, so I have less problems, right? Even though I like the Jay-Z song, 99 Problems, but a female ain't one, right? Ironically, I don't have problems. I don't have 99 problems. And definitely for sure, a female ain't one of those problems, right? It's not very popular with the ladies, but so that's why it's just funny. It's like, the idea is like there's a lot of people out there have problems, and it's like y'all need to try to solve it. That way you have less problems. To me, problems is not a problem. For me, problems is just something to do. So whenever somebody comes to me with a problem, it's like, well, I guess I got something to do today, which is to solve that problem. I don't see it like, oh my God, it's a problem. Oh my God, you're having issues. Oh my God, that's it. Yeah, it's terrible, and then do nothing about it. It's like, no, I'm going to try to solve it. Problem solver. That's what I do. That's why I make. That's why I do what I do. Like this podcast is to solve problems. If you're not happy in a marriage, hopefully this podcast, right, helped you. Be happy in your marriage, because you're married. You should be happy, but it shouldn't be reliant. Shouldn't be dependent and conditional, right? It shouldn't be, it's somebody else's responsibility. No, it's your responsibility. You be happy. You better make sure you're happy, because you chose to be in the marriage. You gotta be happy. You can't be in the marriage and then be complaining. It's like you chose a job but then complain that you hate the job. It's like, but you chose it. You literally applied for it. You did the interview. You got hired. Instead of somebody else getting the job, you got it. You prevented somebody else from getting the job, and now you're complaining about the job that you literally put effort to get. So if you get married, it makes no sense for you not to be happy. You wanted it. Unless you're, one of those not so smart peoples, right? Who at some random dude was like, "Hey, marry me," and you're like, "Oh, sure, I'll do it." Like, no, you better take your time. You better make. Don't take too much time because ladies, y'all know y'all don't have forever to be a wife and whatnot. But the thing is, like, don't just jump into a marriage when you're not ready for it, right? As in, like, you're not going to make sure that when you do go into the marriage that you can make yourself happy, that you can do everything. And what's ironic is the idea that a lot of females out here talking about, I'm strong, independent, I don't need a man, I do everything by myself. But for some reason, y'all still can't seem to make yourselves happy. Y'all independent, but you're not happy. But happiness, like I said, comes from you. At least it should. First and foremost, you should be able to make yourself happy. One way or another, right? Pun intended, be able to make yourself happy, right? Yes, a guy can make you happy in the bed, but you should be able to make yourself happy, period, if you know what I mean. So the point is, like, you should be able to make yourself happy. Thing is have that mindset. Make yourself happy first. Then worry about everybody else or the rest of the world making you happy, right? Because if that's the thing, what's extra funny to me is that if happiness is so important for you ladies to have, that's more reason why you have to have your own happiness, where your happiness should come from you more importantly. That way you're self-powered with happiness. You're self-reliant when it comes to happiness. You rely on yourself for happiness, and then everything else is just extra, happiness charging, right? However way you want to look at it. Like, just be a little bit more logical, ladies. I love y'all. Just be a little bit more logical. That's all we ask. That's what any guy asks. Just be a little bit more logical. Be more reasonable. A lot of times y'all tend, or at least modern day females, tend to be very unreasonable. They really, really expect everything to be basically handed to them. Even their own happiness is expected to be handed to them. I love you, ladies. Do better. See you next time.